What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Circle the Circle. I'm your host, Stephen Pearson. Today we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets and the absolutely horrific start that they've had to this year. It hasn't looked good so far. They are 2-10 on the season with a total of 4 points. Now that is just awful for them, and I expected a very, very big season from them. Last year they were plagued with injuries. I thought they were going to come out strong this year. I thought they were going to be a definite contender for the playoffs and in the Metropolitan Division. Now this is a very, very tight division, very, very competitive right now, but I did expect big things from the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I obviously don't like what I'm seeing. There's been some problems. I think it's mostly they just haven't found their groove yet. They're not connecting. They're not playing. In general, they're not just playing. They're struggling right now, and obviously it's evident with a record like 2-10 with 4 points on the year. But it's much more than that. This is a team that brings in Brandon Saad after a trade with the Chicago Blackhawks. Saad, 23 years old, expected to be on the top line with Ryan Johansson and Nick Foligno, and that right there is a very, very, very powerful, a big threat of a first line. And we expected big things from these guys this year, and right now, they're not doing it. They don't have nearly anything going on for them, and it's not just them. It's also about the back end. It's also about the goaltending. It's about everything right now. But if you look at the lineup, this is what they bring to the table. It's Brandon Dubinsky, Ryan Johansson, and Cam Atkinson on the first line. Now, not what we expected necessarily, because Saad has been injured. He's day-to-day, and Ryan Johansson actually missed a few games the past two, but he did play Friday when they lost to the Capitals. So they have the team there. It's not that bad, but Brandon Saad hurts, and he only has 4 or 5 goals on the year. He's very, very. He just hasn't found the system yet. He doesn't know what's going on. He played in Chicago his whole career. He won 2 cups with them, so he's got to learn this new system. And they went through a coaching change. They just hired John Tortorella, of all coaches, to try and light a fire underneath the butts of the Columbus Blue Jackets players. And I'm not sure that that's even going to help, because He's one to be honest, and I appreciate that about him, but he's also going to yell and scream a lot, which he's come to be known for at this point, which is good in certain circumstances, but is that necessarily what the Columbus Blue Jackets need right now? They need someone to kind of bring the positive facets of their game, and they need to bring them out, and someone needs to spend time with that team and really analyze it, shake up the lines a little bit, and go down and not just yell at them for being awful. That's basically what Tortorella is going to do, and I imagine he's already done that to begin with. He hasn't been happy. I'm not even sure why he's the clear-cut choice for this, but I digress. We'll look at the lineup. I don't know why Brandon Dubinsky's playing on the first line. I understand it. Okay, he's a hard-nosed player. He plays the game fast. He plays well on occasion, but I don't know why he's on the first line. They don't really have too many players after, like, you look at Brandon Saad, Nick Foligno, Ryan Johansson. Then you got Scott Hartnell, who I'm afraid is just washed up at this point. I'm not sure. He didn't do so well last year. Granted, he was injured. Hopefully he comes back this year and proves something. And then you got Alex Wenberg in the middle and Nick Foligno on the right-hand side. So that's still sort of a line, but is it necessarily a second line? No. But I expect bigger things out of them. And then when, of course, Brandon Saad comes back, you push Dubinsky down, or maybe you push Cam Atkinson down, whoever is actually doing the better work. You got to analyze it that way, and I understand. Boone Jenner, William Karlsson, and Matt Calvert, that's a very good third line. They have some offensive potential there, and they're able to hit. It's a very good checking line. And then you got Rene Bourque, Gregory Campbell, and David Clarkson on the fourth line. David Clarkson, you're going to get what you get. He's a fourth-line player, and he's not much more than that. He came over from Toronto last year, and he's just being paid way too much money for a fourth-line player, and Bourque fits in well there. I think that line's a very good fourth line. It's just a matter of they got to mix up these players and match them and be able to use them effectively. Jack Johnson and David Savard on the top pair of defensemen. Jack Johnson has been a very big disappointment this far. I don't like what I'm seeing, really. I don't really know why he's not doing more. He's supposed to be able to quarterback that power play, and he has 1 point on the year. He's got 1 assist, and he's a -2. So he's not doing very well right now. I don't like what I'm seeing from him. He really needs to step up his game. Again, then you got Fedor Tutin, and Dalton Prout. And I mean, the defense is really what hurts this team, because then it's followed by Ryan Murray and Cody Galabouf, and neither of these guys are I don't know. The whole defense just has been very disappointing to me. They need to do better. They need to work on that and just step up and play defensively. And Jack Johnson really needs to emerge as an offensive player. And maybe David Savard takes over for him. He's got 5 points on the year. I think hopefully that helps him somehow. And maybe it puts pressure on Jack Johnson to do something. And then, of course, you got Sergei Bobrovsky in net, who has looked absolutely awful from winning a Vezina Trophy a few years ago. His save percentage is .865 right now, .865, and that is not what you want. His goals against is nearly 4, 3.97 goals against average right now, and he looks absolutely awful. And again, it does have something to do with the defense, but if he can't keep the puck out of the net, which was their main problem in the beginning of the season, they've gotten a little bit better at it now, but they could not keep the puck out of his net for a long time, and he's to blame for that, and the weak defense is to blame for that. The forwards have to play a good two-way game. They really have to do that. They have to come back. The centers have to make sure they're checking very well. The forward check has to be better. They're not putting pressure on. They're not winning the puck battles in the corner against the wall. And then they're just not producing right now. The leading point scorer is Scott Hartnell, and I don't like what I'm necessarily seeing from him. I don't think he's the bona fide guy he was in Philadelphia. And then obviously Brendan Dubinsky 7 points and Cam Atkinson 7 points. They're on the first line. I expect a lot more. They've each played 12 games and Atkinson's played 11. So I'm expecting almost a point per game players out of these guys on the top line, especially with a guy like Ryan Johansson feeding you the puck. I know he missed 2 games this season so far, but he only has 6 points and 1 goal on the season. He really has to find his groove, followed by Nick Foligno with 5 points. These guys are just not doing it. They need to find a way to click together. They need to I don't know what it needs to, if it needs to come in practice, or they need to have that big game where they break out offensively. They need some nice tic-tac-toe some tic-tac-toe plays. I don't know what it is, but Boone Jenner has been the most impressive person so far with 6 goals and an assist, tied for the team high in points. But he's been able to find the back of the net. I really appreciate that. He's got a nice shot. He's getting him in those opportunities to put himself where he can score. He's getting some good feeds on that second line. So I think everyone needs to kind of step up their game. And Saad has 5 points and 4 goals so far, and I don't like that at all. They really need to step up, him in particular. He was brought in to lead this team to the playoffs as a very dominant threat. He's very quick. He plays the game hard. He's got a very, very good shot. He sees the ice very well. He's got good puck vision. He needs to step up and play. I mean, he needs to come back, first of all. He needs to be healthy, but he really needs to step up so his team can do well. And it's a whole team effort at this point. They need to all click together. It's got to start obviously with the defense. You cannot keep letting them score, the opposing team score on you. It's absolutely atrocious right now. You have to keep the puck out of the net, and you have to just break out. I get it. There's 4 points on the year so far. You only have 2 wins. You have to take it one game at a time. Win one game, take it one game at a time, and then see if you're able to string together a series of wins. And obviously losses are going to come, but this team is a team that I expect to play well. And if Bobrovsky doesn't step up and play like a Vezina Trophy winner, this team is going to fall apart because of the weakness on the defensive end. And especially if Jack Johnson does not step up and help offensively and defensively. He has to play that two-way game, and he's not doing that right now. And Savard has been there to pick it up, but you cannot rely on one defenseman to effectively play. You also need the forwards to help out defensively, and that's probably where all their problems are stemming from. If they're not coming back and checking in the defensive zone and playing defensively, the defense is going to be left there to struggle because they're not capable of doing well. They have to come back, especially the centers. Ryan Johansson has that two-way part of his game, and he needs to help out a lot as well as all the forwards. So that's what I see coming. The Blue Jackets need to improve. It starts with Bobrovsky, starts with the defense, and the offense will come. The defense is what you have to focus on first, and we will see where they end up at the end of the season. For right now, I'm Stephen Pierce. This has been Circle to Circle.